I'm sorry. I know it's another Birds of Prey video, but I gotta tell you, when stuff like this happens, it's fun to cover. Like, I have fun. I have fun shifting through this stuff sometimes because it's almost to the point where it's predictable and you get excited for when things come. And this has got me excited because we all knew it was going to happen. The day has finally arrived. That's right. You are blamed for the failure of Birds of Prey. So now men are being blamed, just as predicted. We all knew this was coming. Men were going to be the sole reason that this film is a disaster and the reason it failed. We're going to go ahead and ignore all of the problems. I think there's some legit criticisms on why this movie failed. I stand by the marketing. I think the marketing for this movie was wrong. They should have leaned into that R rating. They should have talked about it being fun. Because I'm going to be honest, even in my review, I said it wasn't really that woke. It's not a great movie, but it's not necessarily a bad movie. I think a lot of people are exaggerating on some of the things on how, woke it is. There's definitely some woke stuff in there, but it's not that bad. And that's my opinion. You can agree or disagree with me. That's fine. However, the marketing for this movie was 100% woke. Super woke. Really woke. Ewan McGregor running around talking about how men are trash, basically, and men's time is up. A lot of marketing on how, we're going to desexualize the women. We're going to have, Margot, this is going to be a less male gazy Harley Quinn. It's all the wrong messaging for these kinds of movies. Like, okay, you want to have, like, the pajama-wearing Harley Quinn? Okay. But don't make that a point for people to go see your movie. That shouldn't be, it shouldn't be your drawing point for the movie. You should be talking about, fun stuff. I mean, these are comic book characters. There's a lot of fun things to talk about in this movie, or about this movie. Not political messaging, but that's where they leaned. And as such, now people are coming out and blaming men. And there's no better place for examples of blaming men than over on Twitter. I actually saw somebody posted a picture earlier. Name a better trio. And it was Harley Quinn and Huntress and Black Canary doing a photo op together. Not as their costumed characters. They're doing it, as the actresses. And it's like, really? What about the Trinity? Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman? Probably a better trio, but, these people don't read comics. Probably didn't even go see the movie either, which is always funny. So here's a really good example of blaming men. This is Mr. Conway. He is a very famous comic book professional, actually. Has a lot of really big titles under his belt. I think he does more writing for TV and movies now. But he still does comics once in a while, and he's still pretty talented. He just did a Spider-Man comic, What If comic, like last year that I thought was pretty good. But he's still super woke. And you can pause this and read the whole thread if you want. But if you just want to, if you're just listening, here's pretty much his main starter tweet, and you can kind of guess where he's going to go with this. I'm so disappointed by Birds of Prey's box office and what it says about the male audience for superhero films. Here's my controversial take. The movie didn't pull teenage boys because Margot Robbie didn't want Harley Quinn to be sexualized as she was in Suicide Squad. And then we have outlets blaming men. Here's from CBR. Birds of Prey, most of the negative reviews are from men. It's like, okay, here we go. Now what's funny is over at Rotten Tomatoes, the reviews for this movie is sitting at 80%, which is fresh for Rotten Tomatoes. And this is just critical score. Of course, critics love this film. They are all over it. They are in love with it. That is the best film ever. It's the bestest ever because it's got the bestest girls in it. Girl power, go, go, go. But of course, it's got a few negative reviews. So let's go shame who's giving this a bad review. How dare you, sir? You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're going to review this movie. It better be good, punk. Were you some kind of ist? You some kind of phobe? You got something against ladies? So, a lot of the times they're shamed into giving it a good review. So, this movie is not worth appraisal. It's not a terrible movie, but it's not a great movie either. Okay, it's pretty average, and it still has some wokeness in it. However, the main problem with this film, and I stand by it, isn't men. It's your woke marketing. It's the fact that you spent a year talking about how, this Harley Quinn's going to avoid the male gaze. And Ewan McGregor running around, and every single interview, every single time, he just did it again the other day, talking about how men's time is up and that he's the chief misogyner. Really strange. That's how they marketed this movie. And what I find funny about this article is Mr. Sergio here admits it. He admits that's a problem. After he blames men, of course. But he says it right here. Of course he starts off trashing YouTubers. So, unfortunately, the anti-men narrative was spread by the same community who dunked on Captain Marvel and Batwoman for pushing progressive agendas. For some reason, there's a belief that girl power poses a threat to the future of comic book movies, and the honor of fictional characters everywhere must be defended. So, Captain Marvel and Batwoman, two terrible, terrible comic book adaptions, by the way. They got dunked on because they're terrible, terrible, terrible pieces of entertainment. They're trash. Kind of funny how, once again, Wonder Woman isn't put in there. Is that because it doesn't fit what you're trying to say? I wonder if that's the case. But then, towards the bottom of the interview, where most people have stopped reading, or not the interview, the paper, the article, or whatever, it says this. Yet, here's the thing. Birds of Prey never claimed to be any of these things. It's been accused of. It's become a victim of mistaken identity, which has undoubtedly harmed its box office performance as a result. There are people angry about what they think it is rather than what it actually is. And I said this in my review. It's not super woke. But the problem is, that's how you marketed the movie. So, you're talking about Ghostbusters 2016 and Charlie's Angels in this next paragraph here? Those movies did the same kind of marketing as Birds of Prey. And what is everybody always talked about all the time? When you get woke, you go broke. And that's exactly what happened to DCU's worst movie at the box office yet. You decided to run around for the entire year talking about how this is going to be a woke masterpiece. Guess what? Nobody wanted to come watch that. If you had marketed this movie as a fun Deadpool-like movie, leaned into that R rating through the advertising, and talked about how fun and funny this movie would be, I think you probably would have done all right and had a decent opener. You didn't do that. You can blame men all you want. The problem is you do this over and over again. You did it with Charlie's Angels, you blamed men. Terminator, Woke Fate, you blamed men. Ghostbusters 2016, you blamed men. Maybe you should start blaming yourself. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys thought about this. What are your takes? What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear. Are you surprised they're blaming men now? I'm not. I predicted it. Everybody knew this was going to happen. Here it is. It has begun. So give me your thoughts. Also, if you would, throw a like up. Share the video. Sharing the video, likes and comments, the best things you can do for any YouTuber. Please consider doing those for everybody you like. But I would greatly appreciate it if you would do those things for this video. Share, like, and comment. Also, make sure you still subscribe. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell and set it for all notifications. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.